All right. Welcome everyone here on it's been a beautiful Thursday here in Los Angeles. It actually probably looks a lot like this picture you see in front of you right now. So first of all, my name is Ben Stapleton. I'm the executive director here with the U.S. Green Building Council Los Angeles. We're incredibly honored, to be honest with you, to partner with AWA+D for this event to really dive into an important topic, but also it's their 100th anniversary. And you only turn 100 once. So I feel really honored that we get to celebrate that with you here today. Even though this is virtual, it's still supposed to be fun. So if you want to join them in celebrating their 100th anniversary, I highly recommend grabbing a drink of your choice. No judgment here by anyone. This is meant to be learning plus fun, which is the best kind of learning there is, because learning should be fun. While people are logging in, just a little about who we are. USGBC-LA is an independent organization. So while we're affiliated on some level with the USGBC that runs the LEED credential and certification that you may know and love, we're independent financially. From a board standpoint, our mission is different. We're really focused on leveraging the built environment as an entry point to transform Southern California into a more sustainable region for all. And we can't do that without people. Even though we're here to talk about projects and buildings, the reality is people make buildings. And so we can't do that without people. So our hope is to really be a platform for folks like you to make an impact in the work you do. And at the end of the day, that really is going to help transform our market here locally. There's no shortage of good work to do, as I'm sure everyone here knows. And just want to encourage everyone that I think people feel overwhelmed sometimes, like, who am I to be someone to help out? There's so many things you can do. You can be a member, you can join a committee, you can be a mentor. Anyone can be a mentor. That means just being committed to helping someone on their journey. You can support an initiative. You can build yourself, learning and being here today, participating in an event that is being engaged. And you can volunteer, regardless of whether it's with us or somebody else. Volunteering is so important and so needed right now with all the craziness going on in the world. I'd also encourage you to check out our talent portal. All of our recorded content is available online there, including this wonderful event you're about to have today. So if you want to refer it to somebody, you can't seem to find the link, you don't know where the recording is, we do send this stuff out after the event, but I encourage you to go to the talent portal where you can find all the recordings of our content. And then also encourage you to check out some of our committees, whether that's building decarb, construction, green schools, if there's a topic that speaks to you. Again, it's just about being engaged. There's groups of professionals that are working to make impact on these various topics. So we hope you can come out. And then also want to do a quick plug for our Net Zero Accelerator. We launched this program in 2019 to help startups that have accessible solutions today get to scale, to help enable zero carbon, zero energy, zero water, zero waste buildings. Our application's open right now. And you can go to www.netzeroaccelerator.org to check that out. If you know of a good startup, please send them our way. And then, as always, if you feel inspired by any of the work you see here today, please, if you feel inspired, donate anything that you can spare to help support our small but mighty team as we continue to try to do this work to get the message out there, especially with partners like AWA+D. This is so important. There's we're in a critical decade of our fight against climate change. We need to do a lot more of what we're doing a lot faster. It's really, really critical. So you already heard from me. I'm going to turn things over here to Sarah to do some quick introductions. I want to give you a preview of the schedule today. So we're going to be rapid fire. You're going to hear about 6 different projects. It's going to be fun. And then we encourage you to come up with some great questions, because you're going to be able to go into breakout rooms for each of these projects and ask those questions one-on-one with the folks who actually worked on them. We're hoping that could be some great networking, some great opportunity to interact. And then we're going to try to close out by 6. So 6 projects by 6 on the 100th year anniversary. Sarah, over to you.
Actually, I'm going to take over. Thanks, Ben.
Go for it.
Everyone. My name is Sona Dvorkin. I am the president of AWA+D. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you, USGBC-LA, for partnering with us on this event. Thank you, Mazzetti, for sponsoring this event. And if you've never heard of AWA+D, we are the Association for Women in Architecture and Design. So we're open to anyone who supports the cause of advancing women-identified individuals in architecture and allied fields. As Ben mentioned, our organization is 100 years old this year, and we have a lot of extra special events coming up, like this one. So please take a look at our upcoming events, and I hope you enjoy today's program. And I am going to hand it over to Mazzetti now.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Can y'all hear me? Try to unmute myself. Okay. I wanted to say I'm grateful to have been a part of AWA+D for almost 2 years right now. And it's a great organization. I'm very grateful to have found these amazing women. They did get me through the pandemic, like Sarah mentioned. A brief intro here. I joined Mazzetti in 2020 after I got to know more about the firm at networking events, and we started submitting some joint proposals, and eventually I couldn't resist joining them after I learned more about their commitment to the planet, the environment, and women, and especially healthcare, which is my passion. Mazzetti is an employee-owned benefit corporation, and we are committed to creating healthier, enduring environments. We work predominantly in the healthcare industry, which is notorious for its energy-intensive, highly complex, highly regulated, and highly impactful relationships with communities. The firm is 60 years old this very year. It was started by a small team of MEP engineers, and through growth and acquisition, we now have over 200 people in 11 locations across the US. We also have some people in India, which makes our Zoom meetings very interesting for timing. We have a really diverse group that addresses the spectrum of clients' needs in the built environment. We aid clients in the planning, designing, optimizing, equipping, and illuminating their new environments. And in addition, we have energy efficiency experts, and we have sustainability and decarbonization specialists. My role in the firm is to manage our transition and activation division, where we aid architects, builders, and especially owners in planning and opening their new facilities. So Mazzetti is very proud that we were able to underwrite today's event, and thank the women at Mazzetti Committee for doing that. I had asked them to give us some money. And it's an employee-run committee of both females and males, and we are dedicated to ensuring that Mazzetti is the most female-friendly engineering and technology consulting firm. Some people know women account for less than 1/3 of the total people in STEM industries, and 30% of the women who have left the engineering profession cite organizational climate as the reason. So we're working to try to change this narrative for women and the women at Mazzetti and our industry at large. And we are hiring. So if you're interested in any of our positions, you can go to our website or you can reach out to me directly. We're also working alongside many of you to combat the greatest threat to public health in the 21st century, which is, of course, climate change. We are acutely focused to decarbonize healthcare, and we've been in this realm for over a decade, and this is our greatest public benefit. Specifically, we're helping our clients meet the necessary 50% reduction by 2030 with a 100% target reduction by 2050. Today, our presenters, all of you, hopefully you can see the screen from all the people who are going to present today. We will share some knowledge nuggets from your sustainability journeys and in multifamily projects. So I hope you enjoy today's Zoom, and I think my 3 minutes is up.
Thank you, Kristen, and thank you, Sona. Again, we're so excited to partner with you today, and you know, there's such an important topic. You know, I feel like so oftentimes we talk about, you know, there's so many different kinds of buildings in the world, but the buildings that house people, we go to work. We go to work a lot less these days, but where the majority of people live are so important, and it's one of the most complex areas to really bring sustainability to life. There's mixed incentives between landlords and tenants, and how we set up these buildings for success, how we design these buildings, how we enable them to really engage the people within them in a natural, cohesive, and community-based manner is just so critical. So really excited to hear from these 6 projects. So our first project we're going to hear from today is the team at KFA. So over to you, Team KFA.
All right. Thank you so much, Ben. Hello, everyone. And then Mona, you getting the slides up?
Yeah,
as well.
Pulling it up.
Perfect, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Karen Felipe, an associate at KFA Architecture. KFA is a mid-size Los Angeles-based firm. We have a history working on affordable multifamily housing dating back to 1988. Housing makes up a majority of the work we do in our office, and of that, about 40% of our projects are affordable. As an office in 2020, we pledged our commitment to the AIA 2030 Challenge. I'm here today with my colleague Mane, who is a sustainability leader in our office. At KFA, the KFA Sustainability Committee researches and educates our staff on current topics. Our office hosts an educational series as well as events to spark discussions on sustainability to our staff so we can push forward these principles to how we live as individuals, what we can do in our projects, and how we can share our ideas with our clients. Sometimes we get a dream situation when a client has their own sustainability goals, and instead of us trying to push them, they push us. We have two exciting current projects to share with you today. Both projects feature the same developer team, National Core and Link Housing. These nonprofit affordable housing co-developers are leaders in green building and sustainability. Together, they have over 36 lead projects, silver, gold, and platinum. The two projects we'll be talking about today have many similarities and have been partially overlapping in schedule. We're going to talk about these projects as they happen sequentially to illustrate how things are evolving in our office and hopefully how other projects can follow suit in the future.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mane Ristakian, and I will be introducing the first project, Fairview Heights. Located in Inglewood, California, Fairview Heights is a 101-unit, 100% affordable housing project with supportive services for low-income and formerly homeless individuals and families. We began work on Fairview Heights in 2018 and recently received certificate of occupancy in January of this year. Nearly all affordable housing projects that receive public funding are encouraged, if not required, to incorporate sustainability measures. For Fairview Heights, both the site and the building itself contributed to meeting these measures. The site is located across the street from a new stop along the Crenshaw LAX Metro line, a significant transit project in Los Angeles. In collaboration with Metro, this project included an open plaza and public art piece for commuters in the area. For the building itself, we aimed to achieve LEED Gold, and we incorporated a highly efficient heating and cooling system and included all electric appliances in the units. We also planned to maximize the available roof space for a future solar panel array, though during the design phase, we did not anticipate actually being able to install these panels. We broke ground on Fairview Heights in January of 2020. 8 months into construction, and seeing that there might be some budget available, the client decided to move forward with contracting and installing the solar panel system. The system was designed to generate enough electricity to support the nearly 14,000 square feet of common space, which includes a large community room, computer lab, resident service offices, and conference rooms.
Towards the end of 2020, as Fairview Heights was in construction, we started working on the RFP for Glendale 2. The 2.8-acre site is located in the city of Glendale, California. The project is 100% affordable and will provide 340 senior and family units with supportive services. The overall massing is broken up into 3 buildings with differing scales in order to provide ample light and air to the project. We saw this project as an opportunity to create a transition from the high traffic of the freeway to the quieter residential neighborhood adjacent. As we developed the composition of the buildings on the site, we focused on how the in-between spaces could create varied opportunities for outdoor living. Community centers engage with on-grade outdoor courtyards to provide safe and active spaces for families and seniors. Programmed rooftop decks allow residents to relax and look out at the community below. With a strong focus on outdoor living, the project in total features approximately 38,000 square feet of common open space, as well as private open space for each unit. The project had ambitious sustainability goals from day one: high efficiency heating and cooling systems, energy efficient appliances, water-wise landscaping and irrigation, as well as water saving fixtures. The massing also allowed for the ability to naturally ventilate the corridors to further reduce heating and cooling loads. An early space planning decision was to reserve the whole roof to max fit PV and target net zero energy for common areas. All mechanical condensers typically installed on the roof were designed to be located on each unit's balcony. Most notably, the project is all electric. While it's not unusual to see electric ranges, especially in affordable housing, our projects still typically feature a gas boiler and other gas amenities. In order to plan for this, we located 3 dedicated plumbing rooms on the P1 level, again, saving roof space for solar. Additionally, additional equipment is planned to be wall mounted adjacent to these rooms to most efficiently utilize space.
If you are familiar with green building, you probably know that the golden rule of sustainable design is to determine the goals of your project as early as possible. We saw that with Glendale too, whose goal of going all electric was set from the start. However, sometimes it's okay to break that rule. One of the benefits that we had on these two projects is that in addition to having the same client, we also had the same mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineers. While Glendale was in the design stages throughout 2021 and taking the plunge into going all electric, ownership looked back and saw an opportunity to share what they were learning and apply it to their Fairview Heights project. Once again, there was some additional budget left, so even though we were reaching the end of construction in fall 2021, the client decided to follow in Glendale's footsteps and go all electric. This is what we call making the fuel switch, and we are pursuing it post-occupancy. One of the first steps that we're taking is to plan for building resiliency. By installing batteries, we can take advantage of the large solar panel system to not only support the electrical load of the common areas during the day, but also at night during peak load hours of 4 to 9 p.m. The battery system is also designed to support the load of the community room in the event of a power outage or natural disaster. Next, we're going to look at the changes we have to make to disconnect our use of gas. The first area that we're going to change, and one of the biggest challenges for multifamily projects, is the water heating. We decided that we are going to swap out our original gas boilers for a heat pump water heating system. Heat pump water heaters are significantly more efficient at heating water than electric resistance water heaters and do not rely on gas like a traditional boiler. And the next area that we're going to revise are the common area laundry room dryers. As you know, a typical clothes dryer requires gas to operate. However, there are electric alternatives that can do the same job. Heat pump dryers are the most energy efficient alternative. However, at this time, they only exist in the residential market. So for now, we're planning to use commercial electric resistance dryers. All of these changes are being designed and permitted as we speak, despite already having tenants living in the building. It just goes to show that if achieving sustainable goals is important to your team, it's never too late to go for it.
Mid-rise multifamily housing is a challenging building type to push the envelope on sustainability. Also, with tight affordable housing budgets, increasing energy efficiency without driving up cost is key. It is great to have clients who understand and champion how planning and implementing sustainability features can fight climate change and even translate to savings operationally in the future. With each successful project, we gain knowledge, and these case studies show how this knowledge can feed from one project to the next, or even help influence and modify projects that we thought were past that point of design. We look forward to seeing how much further we can push sustainability in the future, starting with learning from the other presenters here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you to our team at KFA. Next up, we have the team over at ZGF with their Evolve Passive House project.
Thanks, Ben. Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
Great. And thank you definitely to AWA+D and USGBC-LA for having me here to represent ZGF and talk about this exciting passive house project. My name is Ashley. I am an associate at ZGF Architects. I currently work in our Vancouver, British Columbia office, but we do have offices mostly across the United States, Portland, New York, LA, of course, DC, and Seattle. Vancouver is our newest office, and we have been doing quite a lot of work in passive house projects over the last couple of years. And for me, as an architect and sustainability specialist, passive house is really a great intersection of these two passions of mine. So it's been really exciting to work on this project in particular. And a little background about passive house certification is that passive house is very thorough and it's very energy and thermal comfort focused. And so this list of requirements that you see on the screen here are all the boxes you have to tick, and you'll notice they're all metrics. So it takes into account your primary energy renewable, which is like an EUI, but takes into account your fuel split, like we were talking about in the previous presentation. So passive house certification really makes a non-electric building not be possible. So this is also a fully electrified building. It's located at the University of British Columbia, and this is faculty and staff housing. It's about 110 units. And this is a client we'd worked with very frequently in the past. So they actually received a grant from the Natural Resources of Canada to do a high performance demonstration project. So naturally they came to us and said, DGF, can you help us do this project? How do we do these high performing projects, which is not really typical for a lot of residential buildings in the Lower Mainland. So we jumped on board and really decided to help them show how they can be a demonstration. And what does that really mean? So in addition to typical passive house principles, which, like I said, is very energy and envelope based, you're looking at heavily insulated walls, building envelope continuity, which is recognizing where we have thermal bridges and reducing that. So that's why you'll see a lot of really simple building forms in passive house design. Also, high efficiency mechanical, of course, so using things like heat pumps, HRVs in order to condition our spaces, and high performance passive house certified triple glazed windows. Because the fact that this was a demonstration project, we were able to push those very stringent certification qualifications even further. So this project will be analyzed in collaboration with the university after construction is complete to look at how it's actually performing. So getting in, understanding how the systems are working, understand what energy we're actually using, and then also looking at some of these kind of more innovative items like renewable energy. PVs are not typical for the Lower Mainland, I will tell you that much. So we had to do some convincing, and we'll talk about that in a little bit to get the client on board. Also looking at exterior shading. So this is something, exterior shading is pretty common. You'll see a lot of, canopies and fins and things, but we actually got to do this pretty cool operable shading system that we'll get into. A big reason for looking at some of these kind of pushing beyond the boundaries items were climate change, and recognizing that climate change is real and that the buildings that are currently in our building infrastructure are not living up to thermal comfort standards. And the survey results you see on the screen here were taken from a building that is nearby, a couple blocks away, same tenant group of faculty and staff. And we surveyed them this past summer during a heat wave we had. And they had told us that 98% of the occupants were thermally dissatisfied and found their unit to be too hot. So we'd already been looking at that for this project, thankfully, and we'd come up with this kind of two-pronged approach where we had kind of a more passive strategy with the operable shades. And we also had a fixed shade. So you see these big white boxes around. So we had, kind of strategy A and strategy B. Each elevation is tuned for the solar radiation at that side. So some of the elevations, you'll see these operable panels where there's the most impact from the sun, and that's on the east and the west. And then on the south, we just have fixed shading. And the north, we actually ran some analysis and determined that we didn't need any shading and we just needed daylight. So that was really a full team effort in coordinating with our mechanical and our energy modelers to determine what we needed for this project and not just putting shading on the building for the sake of having shading. We also implemented partial cooling, which is not very typical for the Lower Mainland as well, especially for residential projects. A lot of times it's seen as like a cost add that's like a luxury item. It's not really needed because in the past in Vancouver, you could really just open your window. It's not like LA where it's hot most of the year. It's actually pretty temperate here, but past several years, we've obviously seen a big change in that. And so we ran some analysis, again, encouraged the team to implement partial cooling, which is integrating a cooling coil into the ventilation system. So it doesn't use up as much energy as a full typical HVAC air conditioning system. Just a close up here on the shades. And this was kind of our very initial concept, actually, diagram that we drew. And you can see how that really carried through to the actual design and how it looks in construction. And the concept was to have perforated shades that allowed visibility through to the outside, but also provided shading. So when they're closed, you can kind of see through them, but you can also fully open the shade. And you can see there's somebody up in this rendering who's using their shade right now. These were another really full team effort. So, this wasn't just something we drew on a page and said, build it. We actually worked with the aluminum fabricator to understand how these things would be fabricated and brought together and put on site. We also worked with the contractor to get this tracking system. We actually imported these from Europe because these types of shading systems are really popular there, actually. And then we worked with the envelope consultant to make sure we weren't pushing our thermal bridging too far with all of these connections. And then we worked with structural to make sure that these could handle any wind loading that they might be subject to. One more note on our cooling system. This was a cool exercise we did as a team. We sketched this out. We had drawn this section with no systems in and actually brought it to a team meeting and really worked together to figure out how to fit this thing into this tiny space in the corridor and still achieve a 10-foot floor to floor. So we were able to reduce the size of the mechanical system through our shading system, fit it into this space, and also reduce construction costs by reducing the overall height of the building. PV, as I mentioned, is also implemented on this project. And the way we achieved that and talked to the team about doing this kind of non-conventional thing was looking at that future cooling load. So you see that future cooling load in green. And that was really how we understood what the impact of this building would be for the future. So while maybe the PVs weren't generating so much energy now, they well overtook the current cooling load, which you see in blue. In the future, they're going to be actually impactful at bringing that energy load down. We also worked with a local manufacturer to take this kind of new system, which is these pedestals you see. It's a kind of a newer way to mount PVs. Because it's a passive house, you can't have a bunch of penetrations through your membrane. So these are a way to weld the system to the roof membrane itself. Because it was so new, it wasn't through all its seismic certifications yet. So we actually got to go to the lab at UBC and watch them test this product. It passed, none of our panels broke. And so we're implemented here, and we're actually implementing on a few of our other projects as well. So it's the types of these things that we really got to dive in, do a little research on our own, and we're really hoping to push the industry in a positive way and learn from this project ourselves as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Passive projects are not entirely passive; they're active also, and it's always good to see that. All right, next up we have Project 4 from Gensler, which is the Cal State Long Beach dormitory.
Great, thank you so much. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Looks like it's loading. Okay, and I will apologize in advance because I'm going to talk a lot faster. All right, here we go. So my name is Stacy Olson. I'm a director of sustainability at Gensler, and today I'm going to share a really exciting project with you at Cal State Long Beach. This was a design build competition, and we were awarded this project with a sister project, an administrative and commons building. And our core team was Gensler as architect of record, McCarthy as general contractor, Glumac as engineer of record through what we call bridging, and then Landlab and Kimley Horn as landscape and civil. Following design development, we brought in our design build partners, and we engaged Murray, Sasco, and CMI for plumbing, electrical, and mechanical. And I spent the first 1 minute of a 5-minute presentation introducing the whole team because this was a publicly funded design build ultra high performance project. And if I can say anything, it's that communication, coordination, education, and collaboration were really, really critical to the success of this project. The project had extremely audacious goals for high performance and sustainability. Both projects were required to achieve platinum certification, LEED version 4. And additionally, our client was really interested in pursuing Living Building Challenge. So that program is designed to create restorative sites, and that means that projects create more energy than they demand. They designed for closed loop water systems. They specifically source materials that are local and red list chemical free. And this project was really about much more than even that, more than bringing sustainability and student housing to the campus. Parkside Housing was the first new dormitory project to be built in the campus in over 40 years. It was really a pivotal moment for them to create a vision, to set a higher bar, not only for Long Beach, but for the future of higher education. They saw it as an opportunity to realize their core values in space, to take a stance on climate change, and to establish a safe space for students so that they could really be their best selves and to thrive. The project's 121,000 square feet dormitory, 3- and 4-story configuration. Each pod, as we call them, has a variety of room types, study rooms, kitchens, and living rooms. And it was really about nesting folks together so that they could develop traditions and make memories. We know LEED Platinum is more about what you can't do than what you can do. Everything is on the table. We documented 88 points out of the possible 110. And of course, we know the minimum requirement for Platinum is 80. We'll be submitting at the end of this week. The Living Building Challenge perspective. So across all of the imperatives, all 7 petals, we are submitting 3 for certification on the housing project. The admin project is pursuing all 7. From the place petal in this project, we had a very strong focus recognizing and protecting the ecology. Includes designing for human scale and supporting enhanced urban agricultural programming. On the energy side, again, that means designing for more energy than we are using. So this data is validated by tracking and submitting it after 1 year post-occupancy so that we can be awarded pending a generation of 105% of the demand, which we're on track to do. On the beauty and education petal, this is about enhancing biodiversity on the campus. We also used a series of biomimicry strategies and created a robust education program to help celebrate sustainability and resilience for years to come. On the net zero energy side, it really comes down to energy demand reduction first. So that starts with strategic orientation and massing. We optimized the facade by extending the slabs to create shadow and shade down below on the other floors. We utilized a rain screen facade system that blocks solar heat gain but brings in daylight. We coordinated potential hotspots in the space with non-regularly occupied spaces. And then we paired a very high efficient mechanical system with operable windows. We have a very temperate climate in Long Beach, and that reduced the load. We also used an indirect lighting design strategy and a robust photovoltaic array. The water strategies, where we really see these 2 projects intersect the most, we negotiated with the CSU chancellor to extend the adjacent municipal purple pipe that was on the other side of housing 1/2 mile down the central corridor and created 7 additional T stub outs along the path. This essentially future-proofs their entire South Campus, providing non-potable water, saving about 5 million gallons of water annually. To visualize that, that's about 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools of clean, potable drinking water saved every single year. And some photos to enjoy. And I'm just sneaking in under the 5 minutes. Top left, we've got an image of the entire project. We have our rooftop lounge with our PV array. We have an example of a study pod in communal space. We have our central corridor courtyard. Our feature stair, and some additional renderings of kitchen and lounge space. Did I sneak in under 5 minutes? That's the end of my story.
You did it, Stacy. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I love the integration into the campus. It's really a beautiful, beautiful project. It's so interesting. I feel like those of us in this world are not used to fast pitching all the time. We run an accelerator for startups, and that's all they do is fast pitch all the time. Next up, we have project 5, which is from Mazzetti, the Boulder Commons.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yep, we can see it.
Perfect. All right, so I thank you for allowing me to come and present. So I'm presenting on a project in Boulder, which I am a part of Mazzetti. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I have a privilege of being located in our Denver office, which Mazzetti is known for healthcare, but we in the Denver office do a little bit more diversity on projects. So we do quite a few multifamily, especially up in the Boulder area where it can be very stringent on energy code requirements. So what you're looking at here, and this is a smaller picture, I'll show it in a bigger in a moment, but this was a project that we started in 2018, and we actually have our first resident, I believe it was October of last year. So it is up and running. So the main goal for this project was net zero. And that was looking at the envelope, looking at the HVAC system, looking at the windows. So we had the overall, so there's the triple pane windows, the LED lighting, the looking at daylighting, and then the entire building on the south side is covered in PV arrays. So we were very fortunate to have an owner that, that was what was important, where they wanted to put their money. But we also had to look at what was going on with domestic hot water, which is a huge issue that's not always addressed in buildings. And so there was a very strong design team that collaborated and met up front to look at how we could make an impact on the building with optional domestic hot water systems. So here's a rendering. I don't have an actual photo because it was covered in snow and was not very pretty when I took a photo. So you're getting a pretty rendering for the moment. But we're looking at, so there's really was 3 basic systems that we were comparing. And we had electric resistance domestic hot water, and then we had a heat pump, and then we had this wastewater heat pump. And I'll explain a little bit more on that type of system, but we were looking at a 30% reduction of overall energy use, which in a building is very large. And so we said, why don't we focus on that and tackle the domestic hot water side? And so that was where the focus went, and also some funds went for this project. So in a basic building, especially multifamily, you're taking wastewater and just connecting it into the utility system. And so you're really throwing money down the drain. And there's 2 companies at the moment, I believe. We were fortunate enough to work with Shark, but they have a system that you can take this wastewater, and instead of throwing it down the drain, you connect it in and it preheats your hot water system. And so we took that opportunity and connected it to our building, and it makes up 90% of our required load, which is pretty incredible for a multifamily building when everyone wants to shower at one time. So so with this installed, and it is not a pretty picture, but I wanted to at least show you, it's big. It's not a pretty system, but it was located in the garage below. It was the way this building was designed. And we were able to make up 90% and save 30% of our energy with this system. So I think that's it.
Thank you, Shelby. That was great. That's great. It's nice to hear about projects from other parts of the country. We don't get to hear about those as often as we might like out here in LA. All right, so project 6 to close us out is from HMC. So our team at HMC, over to you.
Great, thank you. Everybody see my screen?
Yes, loading now. Yep.
Okay, fabulous. So yes, hi, I'm Christina Singizer. I'm the managing principal of the Los Angeles office of HMC Architects, and I was also the principal in charge on this project, the Cal Poly Pomona Student Housing and Dining Complex. This project finished up in January of 2020, and it's 275,000 square feet, 980 beds on 14 acres, right at the front door of the Cal Poly Pomona campus. And it was 8 stories tall. So when we first started this project, the president really challenged the residential life folks and us to condense this project into the smallest footprint we can and really, create taller buildings. And the Res Life director was very concerned about this because they don't have any tall buildings on campus for student housing. They're in 2 and 3 stories. And they were worried about, what the connectivity for the students, if they were going to feel like they were a part of the campus. And so some of the things that we really looked at for this was how do we drive daylighting and views into the student housing projects. And so we know that good daylighting is so important to student success, despite what Charles Munger thinks. It leads to faster learning, higher test scores, and improved creativity. And so we use the opportunity of natural light in conjunction with social spaces and study spaces in the building. So the buildings become quite long because they're double loaded corridors of student bedrooms. And so what we looked at doing was providing opportunities all along this corridor to include socialization or studying, community, and also allow light to be introduced into the building. And so, starting at your elevator, when you come up your elevator and you come to your floor, there's large 2-story spaces with floor to ceiling glass. And then, as you go down the hallway, you meet different kinds of spaces, a large living room with daylighting and views. We have some wonderful views at Cal Poly. Really important was this kind of mid-level floor lounge, which was open to the corridor and allowed light into the hallway. And then also providing a nook at the end of the corridor, which allowed light and views into the building and was a place for, 1 to 2 people to kind of hang out together. So these are some views of the housing buildings, and you see the vertical swaths of glass really highlight the residential life that's happening in the building and allow people to kind of read the building as it goes. So the other thing was the connection to the outdoors. And we also know that having a strong connection to nature is very important for cognitive functions, productivity, lowering sick building syndrome. And we know that nature facilitates socialization. So it was really important that all of the spaces in the building had that connection to nature, especially when you're up on the 7th and 8th floor, that you still had kind of that touch point with terra firma. And we know that nature reduces stress and anxiety. And that is a huge issue in our colleges and universities today. So really having that connection to nature was important. So obviously on the first floor, we had great opportunities in Southern California to open up to the outside, large courtyard space in between the 2 tower buildings where laundry rooms and kitchens and all the kind of classroom public spaces, living learning spaces were able to exit out into the courtyard space and really create that kind of community and connection to nature all throughout it. So, one of the best things that the housing director told us was that the students were using the view as part of their experience. And that was really something that we'd never thought of before, but they were using that connection to their surroundings as part of the residential life experience. And, this is one of the views that they were getting. So you can see how amazing that became a part of their experience at Cal Poly. And that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christina. And I love the integration with nature. I think people underestimate how beautiful it is at Cal Poly Pomona, especially this time of the year.
Yeah.
All right, now we've come to the fun part, or one of the fun parts. It's all been fun so far of the agenda day, and that's to go into some breakouts with our projects. So you can see a list of the projects here on the screen. Becky on our team is going to go ahead and launch these breakout sessions. Let's see what time it is. It's 5:41. So we're going to give you at least 10 minutes, maybe 10 to 15. We'll see how the conversations are going in the rooms. But we would encourage you to bring your questions, jump in and talk more about the projects. The presenters can pull up their slides again, give you more details. This is meant to be fun. You can also jump around from room to room. For some technical limit from Zoom, you can only jump around 3 times. But you can jump around from room to room a couple of times. Hopefully you'll see breakouts launch in the panel below. So if you look down there, there's a little Zoom control bar. If you hit the 3 dots, you can see something that says breakouts and pick the breakout that you want to go into. If you're having a challenge, please drop in the chat for Becky and I what room you'd like to go into, and we can drop you into that room. Please keep in mind, there's a lot of you, and it may take us a while to drop you into that room. So if you can do it yourself, great. If you need help, that's okay. Just please be patient with us. And with that, enjoy your breakouts, and hopefully you have some good conversation. Welcome back. Hopefully you enjoyed your session. We're still waiting for people to return from the matrix here. I always feel like coming back from a breakout room is kind of like returning from the matrix. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one who feels that way. All right, 5 more seconds until those breakout rooms close. All right. Looks like everyone is coming back into the main room. Well, hopefully you didn't get cut off mid-sentence in the middle of something you're about to learn that was going to be very fascinating. But we want to say thank you again and congratulations on 100 years to AWA+D. That's pretty phenomenal. If you can keep anything going for 100 years, that's quite an accomplishment. And so just want to say congratulations again, and so great to see so many just inspiring women leading projects here around the country. It really is great. Our community has been majority women, I think, in the green building world since we started, and there's probably a good reason for that. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our big event coming up in May, on May 20th and 21st here in downtown LA. We'd love to have you come out. I think AWA+D, I think we sent you a community piece for you guys to have a booth on Saturday. On Friday, we're featuring the CEO and founder of Aspiration, the new bank that's tracking emissions of your spending. We're also featuring Jonathan Scott, the co-host and producer of HGTV on Saturday, who's building the first decarbonized home that HGTV has ever done here in LA. So we hope you can come out and join us. We're really looking forward to having some great conversation. Saturday's free, Friday's just a small fee to make sure people take it seriously. But we hope you come out, and we want to continue to bring more people into the green building conversation. So with that, enjoy the rest of your evening. I want to say thank you as always to our sponsors. They make what we do on a day-to-day basis possible. And enjoy the rest of your night, including Mazzetti. I saw that, Kristen. Thank you, Mazzetti.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Ben.